Hey everyone, welcome to episode 17 of the Darksliders podcast with Doug and Brad.
Hi.
We have been kind of on and off the past few weeks. We've had a bunch of different crazy stuff come up, so hopefully we'll be back on a normal schedule here.
We were
But
literally in shock from E3. That's what happened.
just like held up like in a bunker somewhere just because the world had to be ending with what was going on.
That's true, yeah.
Just like Fallout 4, we were trying to live that out. But anyway,
That was a bad
so
joke.
that was a really shitty joke.
I might edit it out. Keep going.
Anyway, so because we haven't had a chance to talk about E3 stuff, even though this was about a week ago now, we are going to talk a little bit about it here and just kind of go through all the conferences and really look and see what was there, what wasn't there. We'll kind of go back to what we talked about in episode 15, where we kind of tried to make some predictions and pick out what we thought would be the best, and turns out we're not very good at that.
No. Oh my god, no.
But before we get to E3,
Yep.
today, Tuesday, the 23rd, Arkham Knight came out, and Doug actually went out and bought that today and has been playing a little bit of it this afternoon.
Yeah.
So I just want to know what you think about that, because I'm really excited for that game.
Well, first of all, I need to talk about that. I bought this game day one. I did something dirty. I actually felt gross about it. I pre-ordered from GameStop because of DLC. First of all, last game I pre-ordered was Kingdom Hearts 2. Literally the last game I spent more than $50 on was Bloodborne, and before that was Kingdom Hearts 2. So this is the most I've literally ever spent on a video game, and I pre-ordered from GameStop, so it's just a lot of dirtiness associated with it.
See, I still don't believe you. You've paid $60 for a video game at some point
Never.
in your life.
Never.
Yes, you have. It's impossible that you
no,
haven't.
I missed most of the PS3 and 360 gen. I got like near the end when everything was super cheap. Anyway, so yeah, I played Arkham Knight, and my impressions aren't great, which is a bummer because I spent money on it. So
To be fair, though, you've only played about an hour or so, right?
oh
An
yeah,
hour or
I mean
two.
I've literally played an hour. Like Brad was like, okay, we're doing this at 7:30, so it's 6:30. I started it and then played an hour of it. The reason I don't like it too much so far, well, number one, marketing completely spoiled the first hour of that game, like entirely. Every gameplay footage you've seen of that game comes from the first hour.
But see, I like that.
No. I like openings to games. Like that is like probably my favorite part of the game is the opening of a game. And the fact that marketing, like, first of all, they spoiled all of the gameplay that happens. Like, any gameplay demo you've seen is, like, they have, like, one long gameplay demo is the opening of the game. And then the PS4 Sony conference we'll talk about soon had an Arkham Knight trailer. That is the opening of the game. Like, that's how the game opens. And it would have been awesome if they had not... I'm not going to talk about it in case you haven't... You by chance haven't seen that trailer. But the opening was super, super cool and honestly could have been one of the best openings I've ever played in a game. But it was spoiled for me, and that hurt, like, really bad. I didn't like that at all.
Okay, I understand, like, the immediate opening, but if they're going to show gameplay footage, I'd rather have it be the first hour than throughout the game, or because I feel like a lot of times you get this picture of everything that's going to happen in a game because you've seen the first level, you've seen the middle level, you've seen the ending level. So by the whole time you're going like, all right, when's that part when I get to the forest? When's the part when I'm on a boat or whatever? So I like the fact that, you know what, we only show stuff from the first 2 hours. After that, everything's new. I like that concept, but spoiling the initial like coming into the game, I don't. That seems a little to me.
That hurt. Like that actually hurt because it was so freaking cool. Because the thing they showed at Sony is actually a little bit interactive, and I don't want to spoil how it's interactive, but how they it's kind of like an interactive movie, but how you interact with it is so cool. And I would have loved if they had just kind of kept it quiet and not shown it. Besides that, this game has like throw the kitchen sink at you in every way, shape, and form. It's like Arkham City. I don't know, if you threw Arkham City on top of Arkham City on top of Arkham City, like, it's super, super detailed to the point that it's almost hard to read what's going on in the environment. But, like, the visual design is so busy. Like, if you look at screenshots in the game, you'll see there's, like, a bunch of different shaped buildings. That's really hard to get a handle on where the buildings are and, like, which building's important, because they all look important, because they're all super detailed. But then
the issue is this game is just too good looking.
No. It's good looking, but it's super visually busy. So a lot of games with like simpler art styles will use lights to sort of indicate where you need to go. This game just has colorful lights everywhere. Like, I have no idea. I don't know where to go. I mean, besides like the obviously humongous indicator that's like, go this way, that they keep from the old Arkham games where it's like a big floating bat symbol in the air. Like, it's really hard to get a handle on like where you are in the environment because everything is so detailed. And on top of all that, it's raining. So, like, I just felt like I could not see shit.
I feel like rating is just like Rocksteady trying to show off.
Yeah. It was like they kind of threw in the kitchen sink on visual design and then beat you over the head. Then they threw another kitchen sink and they just kept tossing like a batting cage. It's like a batting cage of kitchen sinks. Um, okay, I'm sure once I get the hang of this game, I'll be much happier about it. But like, first of all, I am honestly, I think on top of all, like, just overall, I'm just really mad. The first hour is completely spoiled for me because I followed the marketing for this game. And like literally everything that was which for the first hour was shown already. Oh, and one thing that they do is they give you every ability you had in Arkham City, like right off the bat, which is kind of cool.
I say I like that. I hate the, oh man, I can't believe Batman lost his batarangs again.
But I don't know, like, when's the last time you played Arkham City? Like 5 years ago?
When I did,
Yeah.
I played through it like 5 years ago, and then I tried to play it like a year ago with my wife, and she did not like it.
Well, she's not gonna like this one. But since he has literally all of his abilities, I kind of forgot that, like, so he gets all of his gadgets, all of his special abilities, every single combo, like, all unlocked at once. I just didn't remember how to do anything.
That's odd to me because this is such a simple game.
Yeah, but like, okay, it's a simple game, but don't you remember if you pressed L2 and triangle, that uses your grapple hook. If you press L2 and square, then you use your remote detonator
I remember
thing.
that. It was some weird like menu system and like button combo presses
Yeah,
to get together.
and
I
it's
forgot about that part.
all of it. It is everything. So honestly, like the game just feels super overwhelming right now, which is not a great way to like start a game. I will say though that I'm excited that it's a Scarecrow is the main bad guy. That's kind of cool. How do they how they introduce Scarecrow, and they give you a hint in the beginning of how the like Scarecrow dream sequences are gonna go, and I'm like super excited for them because they go way off. I mean, I thought the ones in Arkham Asylum were kind of cool, especially the one that makes you think your PlayStation or Xbox 360 is broken.
Yeah.
But this one is just like it's like horrifying. Like it's very Silent Hill inspired. There's like zombies, scarecrow guys with these huge gaping mouths, and there's demons all over the place. So I'm like really excited for that. I just feel like the game is really overwhelming right now. So maybe I'll have better impressions
Next week.
Next week.
Okay, so you're talking about this horrifying scarecrow thing. Now, one of the big things, and we talked about this at some point, one of the big things leading into this game was the M rating.
Oh yeah.
Was it like deserving of that in this initial sequence? Like, how did that kind of play into it? Because that was a big story coming into this game, is that this is M-rated Batman.
I mean, if you kind of think of Arkham City was kind of a hard teen rating game. Like cops got killed a lot. People were like thrown in gas chambers. People were like speared and stuff like that. So it's basically that, like next gen. The environments are really gritty. Everything is like very intense. Like one of the openings is like a cop gets shot in the head. You hear the gunshot, and then like he like lays to his side, and then like his face is right in the camera. And there's a gunshot like wound in his head. I don't want to spoil the opening if you haven't seen it, but people die in it, and they die pretty horribly. Yeah, it's not bloody, so good, yay. But no, it's very violent. It feels really intense, and Batman's like really intense. And that like he's like breaking people's arms, and he's like, it's time to go to war. Really, it's kind of crazy. Like it really starts off like you're in the middle of a war zone, like right off the bat. Like there's really no lead up to it. Like the first time you play as Batman, like it's a war zone already, which is kind of weird because I feel like Arkham Asylum and Arkham City both had sort of a slow roll.
Yeah, very slow build.
Yeah, into shit going bad. But this is like everything's horrible right off the bat. Although I will say the open world is very cool, and it feels a lot more alive than Arkham City or any of the other games. Because like cars will like randomly zip by, and like you can do a counter on a car as it tries to ram you. Batmobile's kind of cool. I haven't played around too much with it. People are kind of down on the Batmobile, but seriously, it feels like a beast, and the sound effects for it are so much fun. Yeah, so I'm kind of excited now. I just feel a little bit overwhelmed, which I don't like. And I say that as like having played Bloodborne. and this game feels overwhelming. So maybe next time. I'm sure I'll talk about it like more extensively next time when I've got a few hours on it. I'd probably beat it by next week. We'll see.
All right, so E3.
Mm-hmm.
So what we're going to do here is we're just going to walk through. We're going to go right in order, just like the conferences went. So we'll talk Bethesda, Microsoft, EA, Ubisoft, Sony, Nintendo, and wrap it all up with Square Enix at the end.
I like how we're wrapping up with Square Enix. That was probably... Probably not the best one.
Yeah, that was not kind of the ending note that really needed to happen there. I think we all know what should have been the ending note.
Yeah. Maybe it'll wrap it up as Sony instead. I don't know.
Yeah, because that one kind of dwarfed everything else, but we'll get to that one here in a second. But Bethesda opened it up, and I think they had a pretty good conference, all things considered. They didn't show a lot. It was basically really three things, but the three things they showed were big. And this is kind of what we talked about before, too, is you knew exactly what they had from the get-go. I think the only surprise was their mobile game, Fallout Shelter, was the only surprise, I think, in that entire conference. Everything else was pretty known. But, man, Doom 4, I want to start with that one, because that game looked crazy.
Yeah, when I first showed, I was kind of like, oh, okay. It kind of looks like what I thought Doom 4 would look like. What got me more interested was, like, as the demo went on, I really liked how Hell looked, and I liked that, I think they gave it an interview, one of the guys described, like, we want the levels to feel like a skate park.
Yeah, yep.
And I thought that was such a cool way to, like, look at a level in Doom, because it's, like, super fast Mirror's Edge plus Doom.
Yeah, and I think it might have been that same interview, or maybe it was a different one, but he said, at no point do we want you having to take steps back and go find cover and kind of like run backwards or something. We want you always running forward, always shooting at something. So I'm really excited about this game. I was kind of on the edge, like, okay, yeah, it's Doom, like whatever, and they did what I want to do, what I want people to do at E3, and that is they just said, okay, we're going to sit down and play this game for 10 minutes and watch this.
Yeah, I kind of felt that was kind of like a detriment to Doom. I'm trying to think how I describe this game. The enemies didn't seem as imposing as I thought they would. They seem smaller. Is that a weird comment to make? Do they seem...
No, I don't think so, but they also said that was, I think, the first level of the game.
Oh, was it seriously?
Yeah, they said that was like the first or second like major piece. So, and again, I think that goes back to what we were talking about earlier, is what do you want to show off? You don't want to show off like the big, ending or anything like that. I like the idea of showing, okay, we'll start small with this. And we've still got until early 2016 to see more of this, but I think at one point they showed a boss fight, and that looked pretty intense. But yeah, I think just the kind of the normal shooting part, it seemed a little, I don't know, not necessarily easy, but it's kind of like almost like walking through the park, just like, oh yeah, I shot that guy. Oh yeah, I shot that guy.
Yeah. Do you have any comments on the violence? Do you care about that or no?
Nope, not at
all. You play Mortal Kombat though. I'm kind of a sensitive to violence in games, like over violence in this, and for whatever reason, this one didn't register to me at all. I think it's just because they're demons. I'm okay with you like viscerating like the literal incarnation of evil. Like that's okay. I'm okay with that. Like Mortal Kombat, I thought was too intense because like, oh man, that's like people. But in this one, it's like, no, they're not people. They're just demons or something.
Yeah, Mortal Kombat, there's a couple things that get to me, but I don't know. No, I think like you said, it's to me, it's not something that's real, so that completely detracts from it instantly.
Yeah.
Like, look at this messed up looking thing. We tore what appear to be its arms off.
It was only badass. Like, that's kind of what I thought it was. I mean, I thought it was like excessive, but it was, I don't know, it was fun. Yeah.
It was super impressive, and I just kind of felt like everything everybody wanted was in there somewhere.
Yeah, that's true. It definitely felt like Doom 4.
Yeah. It wasn't we're going to try and do this our new way and we're going to take a new approach. It was, here's what's good about Doom. Here is that.
Yeah. That's true.
The other thing they showed here, Dishonored, they have the remaster collection, Dishonored 2 coming out. Yeah, you're shaking your head. Why?
Dishonored 2 did like the worst thing a CG trailer can do.
Which is?
Pretend to be gameplay.
Yep.
That was like a cardinal sin of CG trailers. Like that. What I saw was cool looking, but I was like, that's not, the game's not gonna look like that. And you're pretending like the game will. I mean, it might, but probably not.
Yeah, that was kind of my thought with this. I almost wish they would have just left it as, and we're working on Dishonored 2, and do like the 30-second logo trailer or something like that. Like,
yeah.
Because this started out, there was no like explanation prior to it.
Mm-hmm.
So as it started, like, oh, is this gameplay? And then as you kind of watch, you're like, no, this isn't gameplay. This is just.
Yeah, honestly, I think I think they could have cut a super cool trailer if they just didn't make it first person. Because I think the first person was really disingenuous of what the gameplay will be like. What I saw was really cool, though. I really like the designs. I still haven't played Dishonored 1.
Well, the definitive edition is coming out this fall. You can buy it.
Wait, it's on PS Plus, though, isn't it?
It was a PS Plus game.
Yeah, and there's no chance in hell I'm going to remaster.
Alright, last thing, and this is the big one, and like they teased this like throughout the entire thing, and just we're like, nope, we're not going to talk about it. Okay, now we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
Fallout 4. Mm-hmm. So they actually put out some stuff for this beforehand, but what they showed was weird to me.
Really?
Because they were all over the place. Like, I love the idea of showing kind of the tutorial at the beginning, which we talked about a little bit before, which is the weird 1950s world. And I like how that works. But then, I don't know, they showed, like, the tower defense game, and they showed, like, the building a settlement. It's like...
That is true.
I feel like their big reveal of this focused a whole lot on, like, mini games.
That's true. I felt like half of it was really cool. Like, the parts that weren't, like, Fallout... not like Fallout 3, but the parts that were, like, kind of felt extraneous. Because they even kept, like, saying, it's like, you don't actually need to do this. It's like, well, okay. Build your own place. You don't actually need to do this.
If you want to.
Yeah, if you want to. It's not like necessary. It's like, oh, well, okay. And it's kind of like, it kind of was like Minecraft, but I don't like Minecraft. But if I did like Minecraft, like, oh, it kind of felt like they had made Fallout mods already.
Yeah. Almost like pre-planned out, like, here's something that somebody might want to do with this. We'll throw that in there for them so we just save them a couple hours.
Yeah, and I didn't quite get, like, oh, you can build your own settlements and things like that. I was like, well... Did I ever, when I was playing Fallout, it's like, did I really want to build my own settlement? Like, did I want, because I didn't really care to keep returning to the same place in Fallout. Like, I kind of was like, oh, I don't want to return back there. So it's kind of weird that they're making a place like, oh, you can return here. It's like, well, no, in Fallout, I don't want to return places. I want to go find new places. I don't want to, I mean, it's kind of cool that you're creating your own homestead, I guess. Like, you're creating your own, what's the town in Fallout 3, Nuketown or something?
Yeah, yep.
So I thought that was I don't know. It's just like, it just completely turned me off. Honestly, the coolest thing about the Fallout 4 thing, besides it did look pretty cool, was I thought this had the only time I've ever gone like, wow, that off-screen phone thing makes a lot of sense and is super awesome.
The, like, Pip-Boy armband thing.
Oh my freaking god. That makes so much sense.
I'm going to be so excited because I won't buy that because I don't know why, I just have this weird thing where like, I can't pay $120 for a game regardless of what it comes with. I can't do it.
Yeah.
But the first time I see somebody walking down the street with that, it's going to be the greatest day of my life.
Well, it wasn't that exactly. Like, it wasn't the thing itself. It was the fact that you could use your phone as a Pip-Boy.
Oh, okay. Oh, just like the app itself.
The app itself, I thought was crazy cool. I was like, oh shit, you could like play Fallout and then like force yourself to never pause. Like that would be neat. Like, oh, I gotta go hunker down and then get out of my little Pip-Boy thing and like beep boop boop, and now I can like change my loadout and stuff like that. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people kind of wanted for like off-screen stuff because most people find it annoying. But like for menu management, that sounds kind of cool.
I think if you're gonna do something like that's what you do, and I think the Wii U has kind of showed us that if you do it conservatively and you don't go over the top with it, and you use it for maybe that map system or a menu system or inventory management, it works well. I think some games try and go way overboard with it, but I think they kind of had this very constrained, conservative approach to it, which I think will work really well for them.
Yeah. Not like Ubi's like, oh, did you play our app? You can't open that chest unless you do. It's like that's not what those apps are for.
Subscribe to Uplay and then.
Oh my god, holding content hostage, like literally, you're not literally holding it hostage, but like you're like showing people a lock and saying the only way to unlock it is to do some stupid shit that they don't want to. Ugh.
Yeah, I think Fallout 4 is. I think it looks awesome. I think it'll be exactly what, again, like Doom 4. It's exactly what people want. Fallout 4 looks like they went a couple extra steps and kind of tried to throw in some new stuff, but
yeah,
I mean it's Fallout 3 but bigger, and that's I think what people want.
Yeah, all that last thing, all that little stuff reminded me is like it's for the kids, like the people who like the kids who haven't played Fallout. It's like, man, kids like Minecraft, don't they? Let's put Minecraft in here. It's like, all right.
Kids love tower defense. Let's put tower defense.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Oh, kids these days.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only other thing they showed was Fallout Shelter, which I don't. Did you play it all yet? It came out.
I don't have a smartphone.
Oh yeah. God, I forgot about that. Now the whole world knows. Well, now 30 people know. Yeah, I don't know. It was kind of cool just because it's that get it now thing, and there wasn't a whole lot of that this year E3. But I've heard it's great. But I don't have an iPhone. I have an Android. So, all right. But moving on. So, Microsoft kind of then let off the next one. Now, Doug was pumped for this.
I was excited for this.
And if you go back to episode 15, this was the conference that Doug said, this is going to be the best one out of all of them.
Yeah.
And I believe, I might misquote you here, but I believe you said something along the lines of, we don't really know what they're showing, but what we don't know about is going to be amazing.
Yeah.
How you feeling about that now?
Okay. I think the opening of the Microsoft press conference set the tone for the Microsoft press conference. The opening to the Microsoft press conference, the speech itself was cool. That they had a speech that carried between the characters
Yeah,
was
I like that
super
a lot.
neat. But the main characters they showed, these are the characters that represent the Xbox brand.
Master Chief,
Master Chief.
Marcus Phoenix,
Yep.
Lara Croft is in there now, I believe.
Yep.
Was there a fourth one?
Yeah, it was Master Chief again.
Of course, he's the Halo 5, 3 months. Come
Yeah,
on.
it was Halo 5 and like the Halo collection. I was like, are you serious? Like that's like those things like, oh, what if Microsoft did a Sony, like a Smash Brothers? Like it's just a bunch of like Spartans and Marcus Phoenix. and here's that franchise we sort of bought that's not exclusive.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my god, dude.
Yeah. No, I don't want to say this was a bad conference. They did have some good stuff in there, but definitely not the best, and definitely was showed up by a couple other ones. But they started out with something kind of really shocking that I didn't think we'd ever see, which was 360 backwards compatibility.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have an Xbox One, but I have a gigantic library of 360 games. That alone makes me a little interesting because I think my 360 is on its last leg. That was kind of a crazy thing, I feel like, to introduce now almost 2 years into a generation. Like, oh yeah, now it works.
Yeah. I'm going to kind of hold off my comment on that till the end, once we get through all of this. Well, no, I'll just say it now. The most exciting thing that happened at Microsoft press conference was the fact that you could play older games.
Yeah, yep, I agree. And I think I know the other thing that you're talking about.
Yeah.
Which we can just talk about now, which is the Rare collection, which is amazing.
Which is like the coolest collection I've ever seen. Holy shit.
And it's like 30 games or something ridiculous. Like, it's literally like every Rare game ever. And they were like looking through the list, there were a couple games that I was like, no way, I totally forgot about that game.
Yeah, that was crazy. Like that Rare collection looks awesome. Like I don't even play Rare games that much. I remember playing a lot of Perfect Dark, and that was about it, really. But yeah, that collection was like, oh man, like that would be a day one purchase for me if I had an Xbox or something like that. I just thought it was...
Absolutely. That was probably, yeah. That was up there for things like just overall, because people have been begging for that for a while, I think. I mean, people want these games, and there's been nothing really done with them for the most part.
Well, people want new versions of these games. Like, remember? Like,
also true.
Yeah, because we were like, oh, what's a new Battletoads? Maybe it's a new Banjo-Kazooie. It's like, you guys remember those games? Play them again.
Play them again.
It's like, God
yeah.
God dang it.
And Rare did show off their new game, which is called Sea of Thieves, which... What'd you think about that one? Just kind of looking at all these old classic Rare games and then seeing that new one.
The idea is super cool. Not something that I'm necessarily interested in because I don't care about pirate games, but I know that's something that people really do like are pirate games. The idea of being a pirate. I think the art style is there, but I felt like it felt really, really early, and it felt more like a concept trailer than a trailer for anything that's coming anytime soon.
Yeah, I had that same feeling. It just didn't really seem like it was totally fully developed at this point. It looks like you've got a graphic style, you've got a base setting, you've got basic idea of what you're doing, but I didn't really, after seeing that, have a good sense of what is this game.
Yeah, well, you say that about No Man's Sky. I mean, I could see a lot of people saying it's like, well, I'm a pirate, that's all I need to know. I'm good. Kind of like
that's true.
Like, No Man's Sky, it's like you go explore planets. Okay, I'm good.
Yep, I guess that's true. I guess looking at like types of genres that people like, yeah.
And that's kind of what I felt. I kind of feel like this is it's not like Microsoft's answer to No Man's Sky, but I think it's going to be the how do we explain this game? Because you're just a pirate and you go do pirate stuff.
Yeah, I could see that. And I could see this. I could see it being... I think the issue with this is as soon as you say new Rare game, it's one of those things where people's expectations are just so high.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That like what's going to come next is not going to be there. It's just not. And especially early on in development. You know, had they showed this, okay, and it comes out in 6 months and we're almost done with it, maybe it hits that mark, but I just feel like an early, like you said, almost concept trailer, trying to live up to those, this is the new Rare game, and even if it's not the same Rare people, it still has that R on the front.
Yeah, this one I kind of wish they had faked the gameplay.
After you complained about Dishonored.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, Dishonored didn't like CG. Like, this one I wouldn't have mind. Like, here's an in-engine look at what our new game is going to be like.
Oh, I get you.
It felt like a test area almost. Like, you could feel the test area-ness of it, and that I didn't like. You don't actually notice that you don't have on our list is Halo 5. Like, you forgot that.
I didn't forget it. I told you when I made this list, it was stuff I cared about.
Okay.
I'm so over Halo 5. I don't know why. Just every time I see more of it, I just care less and
This
less.
feels so weird. Okay, because Brad has said that he likes Halo on this. That is not a lie. Like he freaking loves Halo. Like I feel like people are like, oh, he just says he likes Halo. So we have a guy who likes Microsoft on the podcast. Like, no, he actually really likes Halo.
No, like I like legitimately own like 6 or 7 of the novels and the graphic novel. And
Holy shit! How is this not exciting to you then? It's like all your favorite characters from those things.
because my favorite characters aren't in those things, and just I don't know, just watching that game, it doesn't. I guess just like, and maybe I watched the Microsoft. I was at work when this was on, so I watched it like later on. But like, looking at like what Battlefront looks like, and looking at what
Yeah.
Horizon looked like at Sony's, and even Uncharted 4, and looking at what all these other games look like, it just nothing popped to me. It's like, yep, that looks like more Halo. That's cool. I'm sure I'll enjoy that. It's
Yeah.
just I don't know. And even looking at like comparing that with what I saw from Gears 4. Now, granted, Gears 4 didn't take many steps forward either.
I want to talk about that one because I actually really like that demo. But continue.
But I had that same feeling. Like watching Gears 4, I was like, okay, I'm really excited for this.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the difference for me is Gears 4 just straight up said, you know what? We're gonna move on. We left those characters. Those character stories are over. We're gonna start something new now.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Halo 5 is going like, well, we're still going to have the Master Chief in it, but he's kind of the side character, and you got these other characters, but it's still Halo 5, and it's still continuing this, and it's still all tied. And just, I don't know. There's just, it's, every time I see something that just rubs me the wrong way, and it feels so weird to say that, because I mean, yeah, literally, like, I can say from, like, the moment Halo 1 was released,
Yeah.
like, and through at least Halo 4 and Reach and everything, like that was my favorite game. Those games were games that like I waited in line at midnight for Halo 2, Halo 3, and Reach. I all got like was in line like at GameStop for.
Oh, that.
And this one just
I didn't know that.
I don't care. I don't know. Every time I see it, I care less and less.
That's still crazy to me. I thought actually when I saw this, I felt like they made Halo. I don't play a lot of Halo, so it's like this is the only thing. It made Halo seem less unique than it's always been. It
Yes.
just looked like Halo with
Cookie
a huge
cutter
Call of
Halo.
Duty inspiration. I was like,
Yes.
okay. I was like, oh, that kind of sucks.
Halo by numbers.
Yeah, man, that's a good way to end Microsoft concert like conference was safe. That was like the safest.
Very
Microsoft.
safe.
I thought okay, real quick, Gears 4, I thought was super neat looking.
Yeah, I did too. And that was watching that. That was the highlight of I think of Microsoft's conference for me.
Yeah.
Was just that end tease, and it wasn't very long, and it wasn't anything super in depth, but it was like, okay, that looks like what I want Gears 4 to be. It's something new, and I always like the idea of having an old IP and doing something new with it.
Yeah, yeah.
Not like, okay, we feel like we need to force feed Marcus Phoenix down your throats, and we need to get the Cole Train in there, and we need to get all these old characters that people love. It's, you know what?
Yeah.
Nope. New studio. We're leaving those guys on the 360. Here we go.
Yeah,
And I like that.
Yeah, and it kind of felt like I liked the art a lot because I was like the wind blowing was so cool.
Oh, yeah.
That was such a neat effect. Like they actually like all the I'm sure it's all like it wasn't physics based or whatever. I'm sure it's all like pre-baked. Doesn't matter. Like the blowing of the trees and stuff was so cool and it was super moody and I was like, whoa, that's surprising. I didn't expect that from Gears.
Yeah. But I was really excited about that one.
Mm-hmm.
The only other thing I want to mention here is when we were doing this was, I mean, it came out beforehand that Scalebound wasn't be there, but that was one of Doug's calls for best game at E3. Prior to this was Scalebound, and that wasn't there. But
I guess we'll wait for Gamescom.
we kind of swung and missed on like 3 or 4 of those games. This is gonna be the best game at E3 because one of mine was the new Visceral Star Wars project, which we'll get to EA here.
Yeah.
Was not at EA's very very sad press conference,
Oh man.
and I also will publicly apologize to all of you for being super hyped about this and just like, oh man, this is gonna be the greatest thing ever. And I'm sorry.
If you cut out like all the bullshit, there was like a good 20 minutes of conference. Maybe.
Yeah.
I'll give it 15.
Yeah, I would say I'm looking at like what I'm thinking through. It was there, and there was not that much good stuff there.
I think they had I thought like the Mass Effect trailer was super neat. I played Mass Effect 1 and 2 and I didn't play 3 because I really liked Mass Effect 1 and 2. I was like 3 is not going to live up to this awesome ending of 2. So I'm just going to imagine they did something really cool and not worry about it.
Yeah.
And that turned out to be true.
Yeah, and again, I like it. I like the Mass Effect trailer too, because again, it's kind of that we're pushing on to something different.
Yeah, and actually, you know what it was? Honestly, I was like, "Holy shit, they're doing a Firefly game."
Yeah, that is kind of what it looked. I do like that. That's a good point. It did kind of look like that and have that feel to it. So if they go like full on with that, that would make me really happy.
Like it's like a Western Mass Effect. It's like, all right, I'm down. I'm cool. All right, that's cool. You don't have to say anything more.
Yep.
I was intrigued. It's like, oh my god, it's N7. What does that mean? Pow, pow, pow. I feel it's gonna be like most games are like N7 is an idea. It's like,
yeah. It's just this. It's this theme that runs through the entire universe, and everyone in this universe is connected to N7.
Oh god, they did that in like Half-Life. They're like, Gordon Freeman is now an idea, not just a person. It's like,
shut up. Let me play my game, damn it.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about the sports. Should we be excited? Okay, sports. Should I be interested in that, Brad, our sports expert?
No. The stuff they said for sports, I don't. Okay, here's the deal with sports. So FIFA, I don't play FIFA. I'm not a huge soccer person. I played a couple of them, and they're fun, but I don't know enough on FIFA to speak anything other than yay FIFA.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna sell 1.5 billion copies. But so Madden, the big thing they talked about was revamping the passing system and the catching system, which the last time they tried to do that was, I think it was Madden 2008. I believe it had Donovan McNabb on the cover, but I think that was 2008. I believe that was the one, or it might have been the one with Steve McNair. I don't remember. But anyway, they added this thing called the passing cone, where you had to use the right stick to. It was supposed to make it so like you couldn't just like be looking at one side of the field and like, oh, I picked the receiver on the other end, and make it more realistic.
Yeah.
It lasted 1 year, and everybody always turned it off because it was garbage. So that was the last time they tried to do anything with the passing system, which is really the core component of Madden, is the ability to kind of throw the ball and have that control, because you're always playing as the quarterback.
Yeah.
So changing that, and they kind of talked about, they sounded like minor tweaks for the most part, but I just don't like them messing with that. Like, that's the part of Madden that works really well.
Okay.
So let's not mess with that. Because, like, in past years, it's like, oh, well, we improved the running game. It's like, yeah, the running game in Madden is shit. Like, you can't do what you need to do. Or we made the tackling system more realistic, and, like, the hit detection and break. That stuff always works, but I don't want to mess with the passing.
Gotcha.
In NHL 16, NHL 15 is the worst game in the NHL series.
Wait, seriously?
Well, okay, so it was
cross-gen.
Is it worse
mechanics-wise, or just that it doesn't have the features?
Mechanics-wise, it's fine, but just it doesn't have any features. Like, literally, NHL 15 is play game, season mode, online play a game. And if you played NHL games prior to that, like, they have an ungodly amount of modes in it. Like,
oh, really? Oh, okay.
You could sit there and probably play NHL for 15 hours and only hit each mode once.
Seriously? Holy shit.
Oh, yeah. Like, there's Ultimate Team, there's Be a Pro, there's Be a Coach, there's Be a GM, there's Stanley Cups, there's minor leagues, you've got like rookie development leagues, you've got what they call the EASHL, EA Sports Hockey League, where you make one player and you join up with teams and things, and there's so many different ways to play it, and NHL 15 narrowed it down to play game, season, play game online. So basically what they announced is, yep, NHL 16 will basically be NHL 14.
So thanks, Brad, for Sports Minute.
Yeah, I'm sure everybody will love that.
No, I think people should know about that, because I think a lot of people who might listen to our podcast wouldn't necessarily care about that, but maybe they should care about some of that stuff. I gotta play sports games one of these days.
I love me a good sports game.
So, how'd you feel about Battlefront? Oh, no, before we get to Battlefront, Mirror's Edge 2.
Oh, yeah. That was there.
Is that your opinion?
Wasn't it just a CG trailer? I don't remember being super impressed.
It was kind of just a trailer. I thought that is like Mirror's Edge is like one of those games that like definitely requires here's Mirror's Edge. Let's play it for 20 minutes, and now that's Mirror's Edge.
See, I think it even needs a step further. Like, I remember seeing trailers for Mirror's Edge going like, that looks dumb as shit. And then
Really?
and then actually like, okay, so I'm just running. Wow, that's great. You're not gonna give me a gun or like magic, or I just running. And then, like, sitting down playing, I was like, oh, this is awesome. Like, to me, that's a game that, like, I just need to have in order to be able to tell if I'm going to like it or not.
Oh, I guess that makes sense. That's probably why they didn't do that long-form gameplay.
Yeah.
I forgot. That game did not show well. It's a fun game. I forgot, but, like, everyone, people are not up on it.
But, yeah, Battlefront, kind of last thing there. It still looks amazing. I don't know, I've read a couple of previews that make it sound like it doesn't play super great. Like, at this point, like, it's not the huge epic thing that you want it to be, but I don't know. I love the fact that one of the trailers, like, they still have, like, the hero concept in it, which is one of the things that set that game apart for me, which is, like, oh man, instead of like Call of Duty, you get your kill streak awards and you can nuke a whole place. It's like, you got a kill streak, now you get to be Darth Vader.
That is a pretty cool reward. I feel like the last game must have had like a ton of heroes. I can't imagine they're gonna have too many heroes this time though, just because they're focusing on the older movies.
Yeah, because the last one was tied in with one of the prequels. I don't remember which one. Battlefront 2 came out the same year as one of those. But I don't know, I think there's still enough that you can kind of play with, and I think it'll be fun. It'll be good. It is what it is, and it's Battlefield with Star Wars characters. And I'm excited just because it's Battlefield with Star Wars characters. You know what I mean? This game is sold to me already. You don't need to sell me this game.
I don't think they really need to sell anybody this game. I think they've already pre-ordered and pre-sold a lot of these copies already. Yep. I don't think they really need to convince too many people. I thought it was kind of neat. I thought the UI was kind of distracting. I'm always kind of big on I like really simple UIs. I don't like a lot of stuff being thrown at me and shown to me on screen. But it's kind of weird. It kind of made it seem like these epic battles were like a little bit more arcadey than I would have liked.
Yeah.
I kind of hope there's a mode where you just like turn off the UI completely except for your crosshair. And then that is like Star Wars. But this is like arcade Star Wars kind of thing. I didn't like that too much.
Especially with like how impressive the visuals are in that. It just feels like you're kind of hiding like the strength, at least in first impression, the strength of this game is those visuals and is the engine that this is running on.
Yeah.
And there's so much going on that it just seems like you're like, this game looks too pretty. Let's hide that under a bunch of like useless colors and flashing lights.
Yeah, it's like the Dissidia effect.
Oh yeah,
it looks awesome. That UI looks atrocious and like kind of hides. There's actually some pictures of Dissidia without the UI, and it looks amazing.
Oh, I'm sure.
And I get the feel, and like that's the same thing with this one. Like you're not going to see any like promotional pictures with the UI in there. That's like run to this, and like here's a little dot on all of your teammates. Like, oh, come on, guys.
Yeah. All right. So next up, another one of the third parties here, Ubisoft.
I like this conference a lot. Actually,
you like this conference a lot because Trackmania was in it.
No. I like this conference because it was just straight up a good conference.
I will say it was pretty good. I have one big nitpick with it.
Well, let's go through it first before we get nitpicky.
Okay. So I don't remember what they started with. Oh yeah, they started with new South Park game, which
that was awesome. Holy shit!
Nobody knew anything about that. I didn't hear a thing about anything like that, and especially because if you listen to Matt and Trey talk about it, like I'm never doing this nonsense again. Was basically how they summed up Stick of Truth. So not only to have that game, but then to have those two come out and talk about how we're still in this and we're still doing this.
I thought it was super ballsy that like Ubisoft these are guys who make Assassin's Creed and stuff. Like they opened with a South Park game. That was a niche game. Like people did not think that game would sell, or like, and then Trey and Pat were like, "Nah, we're done with it." So I thought it was like a really niche title that did okay. I'm sure I didn't hear like blowing up the sales charts or anything like that. So I was like, okay, it's not gonna happen. That was a really fun one-off game. But I was like, oh shit, they're doing a second one. It's like, oh, it's like another movie. It's like this is like the third South Park movie because how epic Stick of Truth was. Actually, the thing I'm really excited for is because of the setting, the Coon and Friends setting. One of the main... Yeah, I feel kind of bad saying that. That is actually super racist. I don't know if people know that. Like, Carmen plays a character who uses a very racist term, and that's like the whole joke. But anyway...
Have you not watched South Park? That's kind of the whole point of that whole show.
I guess that's true. Actually, one of the main story arcs in that, like, of the like, group is that he, like, calls on Cthulhu. So...
Yep.
Like, they're going to have Cthulhu in the South Park game. Like, I'm sure you're going to fight him. I was like, oh, that is awesome. What was the next thing?
I think they went right into For Honor from there, which was, again, another completely brand new game. That game, like, just from reading up what people who've actually played it have said, like, that game, everything people have said is just, this game is incredible, this game is so much fun. Mm-hmm. It kind of almost looks like a Dynasty Warriors.
Yeah.
It's like Dynasty Warriors, and then it's like, oh yeah, but you met this guy, so now we're going into, like, almost like a fighting game style combat. I don't know, it just looks really unique, and I'm really curious to try it out.
Yeah, it looks exactly my first impression. Like, oh shit, it's Dynasty Wars, and like Ubisoft is doing like a Ubisoft graphic quality Dynasty Warriors. Like it's Dynasty Warriors with a budget, which sounds crazy.
Yep. So I don't know. I'm really excited about that one. Everything people have said who've actually had like hands-on time with it have just said really, really good things. I've heard very little negative about that game.
Yeah, the thing I thought was super interesting about this, I thought the CG trailer was far more boring than I was like, okay, you're samurais, you're fighting Viking. Like there's another, I forgot the other game's called, but there's a game that does that already where you could play as like the strongest warrior. So I was like, okay, but man, that gameplay, like they should just open with that gameplay. Like, sorry, $1 million CG trailer. That gameplay was like freaking amazing.
Mm-hmm. And the CG trailer looked really generic.
Yeah.
And then you see the game and you're like, whoa, this is something different.
Yeah, that I'm surprised that wasn't a show closer. Actually,
Yeah, especially with what they did close the show with.
we're not there yet.
Anyway, I don't remember. There was some other stuff kind of scattered around in here that I don't really want to talk about because it was boring to me.
Oh my
Um,
freaking god! Are you doing that? You're doing that just to rile me up, aren't you?
no, I'm doing that so we don't have to sit here and talk about Assassin's Creed and other such things over and over again.
Oh, that's true. Assassin's Creed is like bathroom break time.
Oh yeah, exactly. That's what I was trying to hint at there. Not your thing.
Okay.
One of the things, and I don't remember where this came, was they announced the new Trials DLC. I don't even know what to say about it.
That that trailer was like, I think when you first watch the trailer, like, oh, I get it. It's an internet thing. They're being like, cats on unicorns and stuff like that. And then like that wasn't even the crazy part of the trailer. The crazy part at the end was like trials. You're like, what the fuck?
That's exactly what it was. I like literally like sitting there like, what on earth are they? Wait, huh?
Yeah.
I think that was like the moment out of all of these where I just sat there and was like, I don't know what just happened. Like, what the hell is that? And I think to me that was the best part about that is they didn't explain anything. I think Aisha Taylor was just like, yeah, it's Trials. You're a cat on a unicorn. All right, moving on.
Do you remember when I was talking about the Trials DLC on how they sort of got like super crazy environments and stuff?
Yeah.
Like, I think they're just doing that, except they're just going like just off the deep end. Like, they're just like,
Yep.
okay, we're just gonna make crazy ass environments. I think that's really cool. Although, like, honestly, I was like, huh, I wonder how they'll do a physics based horse engine.
Make sure your horse is accelerating with the back legs down before you.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, wait, how are they gonna do that? I wasn't even like the part like the rainbows and stuff like that wasn't even the crazy part. I was like, how are you riding a horse in a Trials game? That's crazy.
Alright, so the reason Doug was getting really pissy that I said some other junk in between here, they talked about Trackmania,
Yeah.
which is a racing game.
This. Oh my god. Okay, Brett's actually played Trackmania, and you played it a bit.
I have. It's
didn't you?
awesome. It's awesome.
Okay, it is awesome. This was actually my game of show, and like, honestly, and like after The Last Guardian was shown, and Horizon, and all those other crazy ass Sony announcements that we'll get to, this was I was soured. I wasn't soured, but they weren't like nearly as like, oh my god, Trackmania. I had a stronger reaction to Trackmania than The Last Guardian.
And I'm not surprised at all by that. And everybody who's listening just completely decided to never trust you again on anything.
No, Trackmania is
Shenmue 3? Dude, did you see Trackmania?
I put probably about 300 hours into Trackmania. Far more than any other game. Like I get like super bored with games around 100 hours, and like that's like one or two games I've ever gotten that far. The thing that is awesome about this announcement is Trackmania is something I've always wanted on consoles, and I think it'd be perfect for consoles, and it'd be whatever. The problem with Trackmania 2, I'll be real quick about this. So Trackmania 2 came out as 4 different games, which was really stupid. They came out with 4 different games with 4 different communities that weren't interchangeable for some reason.
That's stupid.
No, it's really stupid. And each game was like $30. So like you have a really small
So $120 of not interchangeable content on the same engine.
Yeah, exactly. Like you couldn't like just combine them all together, and they never released like a Trackmania 2 pack. So you had this like really small audience. I played Trackmania 2 Stadium. You had this really small audience, and then you divide your really small audience into 4, and it basically just killed Trackmania. So I just thought this was never coming out. But this is like Trackmania on consoles. It has all of the Trackmania 2 content. So it has all 4 of those packs in it, plus an additional one. Honestly, I think the people who aren't excited about this have not played Trackmania. But this...
Well, I'm sure, because if you look at like the gameplay demo they did, if you didn't know what it was coming into that,
yeah,
it just kind of like, okay, it's just like a short track trials type thing. You know what I mean? They didn't really do a good job of explaining it, but... There is already a built-in audience for this, I think.
That's true. And it's like a small game, so I don't think they really cared if they got new people involved. I think like, oh, we'll get new people in this game eventually because by word of mouth.
Word of mouth will be huge for it.
Yeah, if you like Trials games at all, like anyone with like instant restart games like Super Meat Boy or Trials or whatever, like Trackmania is like, I think the best version of all those games.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I'm excited about it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the one nitpick I had with Ubisoft's conference, all that stuff was great, but they hammered home the Tom Clancy.
Holy shit. Tom Clancy died 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, they announced 3 Tom Clancy games.
Yeah.
In 2015.
Yeah, that's because it's a brand, essentially. Just like there's still new Tom Clancy books.
Dude, who reads that?
People. If you go to the bookstore, it'll say Tom Clancy in gigantic letters, and then it'll say like Nuclear Strike or whatever on the bottom, and then in the tiny little corner it'll say like written by so and so. It's terrible. But so they announced showed 3 Tom Clancy games: Rainbow Six Siege, The Division, and then their closer was a new Ghost Recon. My thing here is every single one of those games is a tactical squad-based shooter.
Yeah.
That all look like they're running on probably not the same engine, but they look fairly similar.
Yeah. It's like Tom Clancy does Counter-Strike, Tom Clancy does Just Cause 2, and Tom Clancy does Destiny.
I just feel like they're competing with themselves because nobody else really is even in this. I mean, I feel like that's like okay. Granted, they do come out fairly segmented. I think one of them was like this fall, one's next year, and Ghost is probably at least a year and a half away if it was their closer. And this is a little like, I think it was even pre-alpha footage is what they showed.
Yeah.
It just got to the point where it was like, Ghost at the end didn't even hit anything for me because it's like, you already showed me Rainbow Six, you showed me The Division, this is the same thing.
That trailer too is like kind of gross.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know, I feel like kind of open worlds, like they sort of admit there's a certain amount of silliness to it. This one just seemed like the most gross parts of Breaking Bad, the game.
Yeah.
I don't want to play that. I'm not all hyped to play. I don't know. It just looked like Just Cause 2, like Just Cause 3. It's like, here's the not fun version of Just Cause.
We're going to take that and we're going to make it super serious. Alright. Here we go. Sony. Holy crap. This is like, I feel like this will be like one of those conferences that will, like, people will be talking about for years and years just because of the crazy things that were announced in this.
This conference will not be topped. It can't be topped.
There's
ever.
no way, because the things that were announced, people have been waiting for years and decades in some cases.
Yeah.
It's crazy what they did, and I don't even know where to start with this, but we'll just start at the beginning. Like, they started with The Last Guardian, which is like, literally, like, they showed that. I was like, why are they doing this? Like, yeah. I literally, like, it took me like 30 seconds before I was like, holy crap, this is The Last Guardian, because I was like, this is a fake. They're not starting with this. You can't start with The Last Guardian. Like, you can't do that.
Yeah.
But they did, and it just, like, it ramped up from there, and it got a little slow towards the end, just because, like, I think they were just, like, it was front-loaded like crazy, and they just ran through games, but... Yeah, Last Guardian, what did you think about that? I know you've been huge on that.
I thought the introduction to The Last Guardian was perfect, because it was mostly like, no, they didn't, nope, it's not The Last Guardian, and then, like, a tale of friendship. I was like, oh, no... They're like, a game you've been waiting for. I was like, oh, shit. And then, like, it opens with the, with, like, how The Last Guardian trailer is open with the feather falling. And you're like, oh, you gotta be effing kidding me. I will say I was a little disappointed that it looks exactly like the PS3 version. It looks like a better version of the PS3 version. I'll say that.
Yeah, like an up-res almost.
I wouldn't say an up-res. Like, it's obvious that they did a lot, but it retains, like, the exact same art style, which is kind of shocking. If you go back and look at the PS3 version, there's a lot of improvements. But at first I was like, okay, it is The Last Guardian. This looks kind of neat. But as it went on, I was like, holy shit, the animation in that is jaw-dropping. That's the best animation I've ever seen in a game, hands down.
Yeah, and just even, like, the way that, like, I don't know if they're feathers or fur on the big thing.
Yeah.
I'm excited for this just because of what it is. I'm super not into it. But anyway, like, whatever the big thing is, like, just the way that, like, its fur or feathers or whatever was just moving around in that, all of, like, the, like, super detailed animation. I don't know. It looks really impressive, I think.
Yeah, it made me, like, choke up. Like, I was, like, surprised. Like, it's, like, not choke up, but I was just, like... It wasn't that it was just The Last Guardian, but I was like, oh my god, it's like a puppy and a kid, and it has animations like a puppy and a little kid. And I felt that made it like way more, like they made that was a pretty intense little thing, and there's no, I don't think there's a lot of music. There might be, I don't know. I just
it was a very soft, very quiet trailer.
Yeah, but it was super, like, I don't know, like compared to other stuff, I just felt it was like really intense. I mean, for the other stuff we saw where it's just like booms and explosions and stuff like that, I was like, oh, well, you know, we got explode. Like Halo was just kind of like, oh, we got explosions, okay. But this was like, like when he missed that jump and like the dog thing like bites for him, you're like, oh my god.
I really wish everybody could have seen the face you just made there.
My heart jumped. I was like, "Hold!" And then he caught up with the tail. I was like, "Yay!" It was like a short film.
It had that feel. It didn't feel like a piece out of a game. It felt like you were watching, yeah, a short film or something like that. It didn't feel like this isolated piece of a bigger thing. Like, you could just see that and get feeling, emotion stuff out of just that one scene.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think in total he walked across a bridge.
Pretty much, yeah.
That's what happened.
Yep, that was about it. But
And
it said The Last
yeah,
Guardian, and it said a date, and yeah, well, like a
tentative date. Kind of.
2000s, like it's happening next year.
I thought it was kind of cool. I was glad to see it. It was I was a little disappointed. It looked like the PS3 one, but as it went on, I was like, I'm still gonna get that game. That game
Oh
still
yeah,
looks good.
oh yeah.
Actually, the next game, before we talk about like Horizon, I thought when the Last Guardian was over, I was like, who is going to follow Horizon? Like in my head, I was like, hey guys, who's gonna follow the Last Guardian? It's like, hey guys, we're gonna do Last Guardian as our opener. Who wants to follow that? Like,
Yeah, that was the same, and that was what I was meaning. Like, you can't start with that. That's the thing everybody wants.
yeah. And then they
Holy
show
shit!
the gorilla guy. That's what I thought was so cool because I was like, how are you gonna follow that? And then the gorilla guy walks out with so much confidence.
Oh yeah, he was like,
I was like,
"You're gonna." Oh god, it was so good.
this is gonna be. I was like, this is gonna be big. Yeah. What are your thoughts on Horizon?
Oh my gosh, I want that game. That just, I don't fully understand exactly what happened, but all I
Yeah.
know is that the way that looks, the setting, the atmosphere, it just looks so cool. I love kind of that like out in the middle of the woods thing. You're just kind of like hunting down these things, and then the giant robot thing shows up. Just
Yeah.
this, as I was watching that, like, and this is like the crazy part to me is like I didn't even care about The Last Guardian after that trailer. It's like, screw that. I'm done with that game. I saw another trailer. They can show that to me again in 7 more years. That's fine. Like, I want this now.
Yeah. I that was oh, you saw the concept art leaks, right?
Yeah, yep.
When I saw that, I was like, oh my god, it looks like the concept art. Like that was that game. Like that thing is real.
Yeah, like, I have no, like, because it almost matched up perfectly, and it's really weird that they went with that straight concept art that was leaked, and then that's the scene
Yeah.
that they showed in the game, pretty much.
Yeah, because like I think they showed like those like kind of Brontosaurus
Yep.
or Brachiosaurus, I guess, looking things. And I thought it was kind of cool. I think they're like well aware that this is a leak and like, okay, we're gonna show you like here's the stuff that was in that leak, and like yes, our game does look like that.
Yeah.
And because I think a lot of people, I personally thought they were gonna tone down the designs, like, oh, okay, that's like the pie in the sky, like it's not gonna look like that. It'll look
They
similar, but it's not
did.
gonna look like that. Holy shit!
Yeah, that game, I think that was probably the most, I don't know, I feel like I keep saying this, that might have been one of the most impressive things I saw, like, the entire E3. Like, that was,
Yeah,
I don't know, and that was one of those things that, like, completely out of nowhere, because nobody really knew what that was going to be.
yeah,
It was
yeah.
Guerrilla Games not doing Killzone, which is pretty much all they've really done.
Yeah, and I think this kind of shows like I think the Killzone games were always really pretty. Like they had some super talented artists who were doing Killzone.
Yeah, which is not a super pretty game.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, but like think about Shadowfall. Like the coolest parts that were like the non-Killzone-y things.
Yeah,
like,
yep.
that looked in that game.
Mhm.
Like they completely changed the art. Like they made a game that wasn't Killzone and called it Killzone.
Yeah.
But yeah, this actually it kind of looked like Monster Hunter. If Monster Hunter was like Monster Hunter is kind of like this weird sort of arcadey game. I don't know if you ever played it, but it kind of looked like an open world Monster Hunter. Like that's what I wanted from Monster Hunter from like always.
Yeah.
I was like, that's fucking cool.
Oh, yeah. And it looks fun, and it looks like a...
It's open world. Did you know that?
I think so, yeah. I think
Yeah, it's completely open world. Like,
Of course it is. Like, I feel like that's just next gen. That's the thing that you're going to have to do. Everything's just going to have to be huge open world, and you're just going to be able to do whatever you want. And that's
that blows.
such a cool idea to me.
Jesus,
And this is all just from... I mean, we've only seen 5 minutes of that game at this point, and...
that was the second game they showed.
Exactly, and I remember just sitting here like going like, there's no way they can keep up with this. Like, at some point it's going to get down to like, I don't know, like, whatever nonsense they have, and it did. It slowed down a couple of points. They showed off like
Yeah.
Black Ops, which I don't give a crap about, but...
That was weird. They had a really long Black Ops campaign, which is based like neener neener neener. We got Black Call of Duty.
Anyway, I don't even remember what came after that.
I think it was actually Dream.
Yeah, okay, so that was a little slower, but that game, I don't really know what that is.
Nobody knows what that is. I don't think they didn't explain it very well either.
They showed a really funky trailer, and then gave a very vague definition, and then walked off stage.
I think it's Gary. Do you ever play Gary's Mod?
Nope.
I think it's just a game where you create. I don't think it's a game. I think it's a thing where you can create statues, you can color them in, and you can move them around. and that's what that game is. It's not a game. I don't think it's a game.
But they kind of made it sound like there was some. He made it sound like there was some kind of playing aspect to it. Because I had that thought at first, but I feel like he talked about there being some kind of gameplay aspect of it, but I don't really remember.
I think the gameplay aspect is like the creation of it. I think it's just like I think it's a toolbox, and then you make your game. You make the fun of building. I guess. I don't know. It's weird. I don't think they did it very good. There was like a bunch of articles like, "What is dreams?" And I was like, "This article's too long. I don't care."
Yeah, that's kind of how I felt about it. Every time like I was like, "What was that?" And then somebody had like some long definition. Nope, don't care. Somebody will tell me later. I don't even know what order we're going in here, but I feel like it was right around here that they jumped into Final Fantasy VII. Don't care.
No, I'm like, they freaking trolled. Like they knew they had a Final Fantasy VII remake, and they did that stupid PSX thing. And I have to believe
we're releasing it on PS4, and no, it's just the PC version.
Yeah, I have to believe that they knew that they did that to throw people off. Like, they played, like, the long game on that one to throw people off.
Well, I like how at some point this week, I think it was actually in the Square Enix conference, they actually, like, announced the release date for that one.
Oh, did they seriously?
I believe sometime last week, it was, like, a release date or, like, a tentative release of, like, October, I think it was, or somewhere around there. It was sometime this fall. But it was like, oh, yeah, that other Final Fantasy VII that none of you want, that one's coming out in, like, October.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I thought it was so funny because they made that seem like a huge announcement. Like at PSX, they made that seem like a huge announcement, and then they kind of forgot about it. They're like, "Oh yeah, I mean it's coming eventually." What are your feelings about Final Fantasy VII remake? Just the idea of a Final Fantasy VII remake.
I'm gonna be completely honest. I never played it up until
no, you did. Are you serious?
Until about like 3 months ago, I bought it, and I've been playing it on my Vita, and I'm like 3/4 of the way through it.
Okay.
But it's, I mean, like just playing through it now, even it holds up well enough that I would be curious, and like I think the story aspect is the most interesting part of that game.
Yeah.
And I think just to have that story retold in kind of like a more modern, updated version, I think would be really well done. And I don't know, I'm excited about it. It's a cool game that it's one of those things where I don't have that nostalgia for, like the next game that I want to talk about.
Yeah.
But like it's one of those things where it's like I understand why people want this, and it was like how I felt like when they announced like Final Fantasy X remaster. Like that to me is the Final Fantasy game that like is Final Fantasy to me. And I know that this is like the Final Fantasy game to a bunch more people. I'm excited about it. I'll buy it right away.
I think one of the things that I'm worried about a remake is that nobody's going to be happy with it.
Yeah.
That game is, and somebody had pointed this out. I'm gonna reference NeoGaf. I don't remember who pointed it out, but they said it's like one of the few Final Fantasies that has a really poorly defined idea of what the characters actually look like. Like they have those Nomura sketches that you can see, but like they're so blocky and stuff. You really had to like use your imagination to fill in the blanks of like what these characters were.
I'll agree with that to a point, and then Advent Children came out.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. But think of all the people who were disappointed at Advent Children. Like that's not Cloud. That's
I guess
not
that's
Tifa.
true.
That's not what we saw. That's what I'm saying. It's because everybody had to like fill in the details for that game.
I guess that's kind of true, but that's such like a small little nitpick thing. I think the bigger thing is like they mentioned possible changes to like story added in and like gameplay changes.
Yeah.
I think if there's going to be an issue with it, it's going to come from those things.
Yeah, especially the gameplay. If they do a straight Final Fantasy VII like turn based, it's not going to be good. I
want that.
There's been too many.
I want that. That's my favorite part about.
You just want straight Final Fantasy VII combat, like not Final Fantasy X, not Final Fantasy. 13.
Yeah, I've been playing that right now, and I love it. I love like that classic turn-based stuff. Like I love that. Like just give me my menu system and give me my turn order, and I'm good to go. I'm happy.
That's so brain dead to me though, because like I feel like Final Fantasy games, like there's such a prescribed. I mean, Final Fantasy 12 was like proof of this. Is that there's such a prescribed way of like playing that game? Like, oh, I was poisoned, so use an antidote. Oh, I need to attack here. Da 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 da. And I feel like they're gonna have to mix it up, otherwise it's just like playing another Final Fantasy game.
Yeah, I don't know. No matter what's gonna come out, it's gonna sell like crazy. People are gonna hate it. People are gonna love it. It's gonna be something that like people are gonna be all over. So
I think they just put Nomura on it just because like if it doesn't come out, then like because Nomura directed it, he's just not good at that. So the game's gonna get delayed into oblivion. Like. If they that's gonna be 8 years from now, they're gonna re-announce Final Fantasy VII remake, and that'll be the next best E3.
The next one is kind of where I have much more like nostalgia value for. I was like, oh shit, was Shenmue 3, which I think you don't give a shit about at all.
I don't. It's not that I don't give a shit. I just never played Shenmue.
So you kind of got the same thing where it's like, yeah, I'm glad that people are pumped about this, but I'm really excited about this.
Yeah, exactly.
I, to this day, have no clue why I like Shenmue, and I don't really remember why I like Shenmue, because, like, I haven't played it. I mean, I played that, 14 years ago. Like, I don't specifically remember why I like that game, because I never touched it again after I finished it. Like,
Yeah.
I played through Shenmue 1, I played through Shenmue 2, and just in my mind, it's like, I just remember going, like, those games were so cool, weird, and unique, and I loved them, and I don't have a specific reason why.
Like, are you sitting here like, oh, because it ends up, because from what I understand, Shenmue 2 ends on a cliffhanger.
Yep.
So are you like, oh my god, I can't believe that cliffhanger was never ended, or are you just like, oh cool, it's a new Shenmue. You don't care if the story.
I'm just more excited that it's a new Shenmue. Like, I just like the just kind of weirdness of that game. Like, I mean, again, it was 15 years ago at this point. If somebody asked me to elaborate on the ending of Shenmue 2, I would not be able to at this point because I just don't remember. Like, I mean, I played that game when I was like 12.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
gotcha.
So it's like,
yeah.
I remember I liked it. I remember thinking this is really weird, and I remember going, I don't know why I like this, but I need to keep playing it.
I can kind of understand that. Yeah, that's kind of how I'm like am with Medieval. And like actually a lot of PlayStation 1 franchises. Like I really like that game. I think I like that game. I like the idea of that game.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I am with this too. I'm excited. I will be getting that right away.
Like you're not on like bated breath. Like oh, I can't wait for him to get his revenge on that guy.
No, just like yeah. I just like I like the idea that there's a new one. I like this going back to classic stuff.
We'll talk about it later, but because I don't know if we can even fit it in this podcast. We might talk about the next one. How do you feel about the shady? Not shady.
Don't
but...
even pretend like it's not shady. So me and Doug will maybe have to get into this at a later time. We went
We'll talk about this next podcast because we
had some very angry, very different opinions on how Sony played this Kickstarter.
We were typing out like legit paragraphs on Facebook.
It's a bunch of bullshit, and I'm not happy about it. And that's my one issue with this game is they pulled some nonsense with it, and I do not like that.
I think this is an ends justify the means, but
Nope.
They did some shady ass means.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, just to kind of wrap this up here for Sony, because I mean we can't even. There's games on this list that they showed that look cool that we don't even have time to talk about, and we're already like super long. No Man's Sky, they showed a little bit more of that. They showed some stuff that you're actually going to be doing in that, which they haven't really showed before.
I like how you went to No Man's Sky and said the obvious one we're missing is Uncharted 4.
No Man's Sky.
We talked about No Man's Sky so many times.
Fine. Uncharted 4, they showed you driving down a hill in a car and it looked pretty. Okay, No Man's Sky.
Oh my god. Okay. All right, we'll talk about No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky just looked like it was just more No Man's Sky.
They showed you okay, there's some combat here. They showed you just when that dude like panned out and he's like, okay, you can just click on any one of these stars and there's planets there.
But that's been the same.
But have you seen that before?
Yeah, I think they've actually demoed
I don't feel like they've demoed that. But anyway, like I don't know, just everything they showed. Okay, I just really like that game. All right, fine.
I know, yeah. I don't know. It's just like, and then but even the stuff you said, because we talked about this like off the podcast. Like, do you care that there's stuff you can do?
Not really, but I'm excited that there is. I don't need that, but I'm excited that I'll have something to do while I'm just randomly walking around planets.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess that's true.
Uncharted 4. There was a really cool demo where you were driving down a car and you were going down a hill and it looked really pretty.
I thought this actually got me excited about Uncharted because I'm kind of like, I don't know why I've played all the Uncharted. I actually own all the Uncharted. I don't know why I don't even like that much. This game was cool because it like kind of, I think when we talked about the Uncharted 4 demo before, it's like, oh, it's kind of more open. And I think this is like, it's way more open.
Yeah, you can kind of do whatever the hell you want.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be Uncharted Theft Auto, but like the fact that like levels aren't, like even the driving is like probably the most linear part of Uncharted.
Oh yeah, you have a path and you need to go down that path.
Yeah, so now it's like, well, it's not like a path. It's like 4 paths that you can go down. And apparently, like somebody had actually seen a demo where they went down a different path and they like ran into traffic. And sometimes they actually like end up in like different areas where they had like different quips and different things to say about
really
it.
Cool.
So I think it's kind of cool. Like I kind of hope that I think they're making it like, oh, because Uncharted games like once you kind of play through, I'm like, okay, I saw everything. But this is like, no, you didn't see everything this time. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, it looks good. I'm excited about it. This definitely got me more excited than anything I've seen before.
Yeah, I like now that I'm looking at the rest of everything. It's like it's all downhill from here.
Yeah, that was kind of what happened. Is Sony kind of came up and just kind of knocked everything else away. I think that kind of dwarfed everything else that came out on Monday. Tuesday, I don't really feel like there's anything huge that came out. Nintendo still had their digital event, did their Treehouse stuff. I don't have a 3DS, and I don't really care too much about ever getting a 3DS.
You almost did. You were considering it for
Yeah,
a
and then I
while.
realized there weren't any games that I was really super pumped about. A couple things they kind of announced. The big one is Star Fox. So that's really the only one I really want to talk about. So Star Fox Zero, which they've kind of hinted at before, but this was kind of the big reveal for it. It's a reimagining of Star Fox 64, not a remake, not a whatever, a reimagining.
Whatever.
Like the first level they showed off, which was a lot of what the trailer was pretty much straight up level 1 from Star Fox 64.
Yeah, yeah. Like it's not a remake. Here's a remake of the first level of Star Fox 64. It's like, oh, okay.
As I saw more of this, so the initial trailer, like in the digital event, I didn't really care too much for. I kind of looked like, okay, and we talked about this a little bit before the podcast. I looked at, and went, that's what it looks like, and then I went, oh yeah, it's on the Wii U. That's what it's supposed to look like.
It looks like an okay Xbox. It doesn't even look like a good looking
Yeah.
Xbox 360 game.
After actually watching people, and this is why I love the Nintendo Treehouse idea. After watching them sit down and play that, I'm so much more excited about this game. Just because it doesn't look great. It looks a lot like Star Fox 64, but it just looks like fun.
This is the thing that's bad with Nintendo games. They're not good showing, but I'm sure that game plays
Yep.
wonderfully.
It does look on the rails, except for like the on all range mode or whatever that Star Fox has always had. But again, that's Star Fox, so it's like that's not something some people I've seen like people complain about that, but that is Star Fox. Like,
But this game like could have come out 5 years ago, 6 years
oh,
ago, 7
absolutely.
years ago.
It does almost feel to me like crap. We don't have anything to release next year. Somebody get to work on a Star Fox game.
Well, it's like where can we find a cheap Japanese developer who makes games fast?
Oh
Platinum.
yeah, and it's a platinum game.
Yeah.
So a couple more.
Which is weird because it doesn't like. I didn't know it was a platinum game. I kind of just like sort of skipped through the announcement. I was like, okay, it kind of looks like Star Fox. Like it's a platinum game.
I don't
It's
think
like,
they announced that until the Treehouse.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
because in the Treehouse, the first Treehouse video is Miyamoto playing it with a couple guys, and then he's like, "Oh yeah,
Yeah.
we've been developing. We've actually been. Well, we'll hold that off till the end." And then like they do the demo.
Okay.
It's like, "Oh yeah, and I'm excited to tell you, we'll be back this afternoon playing it, and we'll have a couple guys from Platinum Games with us." Oh yeah. So we went out to Platinum Games and they're co-developing. So it was like this kind of like tease
Okay, that
reveal
is
with
pretty
it.
cool.
So,
It looks really tame for a platinum game.
but
though.
I think it was to me. I almost feel like it was like, crap. We need this game to come out. Miyamoto's got the
Yeah.
concept down. We need somebody to kind of flush it out. Like, or sorry, not flush it out. Like flesh it out. Like put in the detail work. I feel like it's almost.
No, I know. I just feel like Miyamoto just says something at like a conference. Like I guess we should do that now.
Whatever happened to his giant robot game, by the way?
Actually, that was supposed to come
Yeah,
out.
like a year ago, I think.
Yeah, it was supposed to definitely come out. I don't know. They just quietly not talked about it. It's like, here's all these interesting things you can do with the Wii. I think it's an NX now. I think everything just got moved to
Yeah,
NX.
I did like Reggie's throwaway comment of, and we're doing more with the Nintendo NX, which we'll talk about in 2016.
Hopefully like a Metroid game that isn't the one they announced.
Yeah, that everybody's pissed about for some reason.
Holy crap. Well, I can imagine. I can see why. It's like, that stuff you love. It's like nothing you. I don't
Nothing
know
you
what
wanted
that
from
is,
Metroid Prime, and here it is.
Yeah.
The opposite of what
I
Bethesda
even
did.
played Hunters. Like, I actually played Hunters, and it's not a good game.
Was that the
Like for-
original DS one?
Yeah. No, it's like by the developers of Hunters 2 becomes this like chibi, cutesy Metroid. It's like, oh, okay.
Other Nintendo things really quick, just to kind of run through the Metroid thing. Xenoblade Chronicles X has a December release date here in the United States.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of bad impressions
Yeah.
actually from the imports, which is kind of disappointing. I don't remember what they are, and I can't get into specifics, so I probably won't say anything until maybe when it comes out in America. You'll actually. Did you play Xenoblade?
No, it's always too expensive.
No, it is. Yeah, I think it's still $80.
Yeah, it's
No,
ridiculous.
no, it's not expensive anymore. You can download it, I think.
Yeah, but I think it's like $40 to download it, I think.
Oh.
They also announced a new Mario Tennis for Wii U, which, okay, that's.
I'm surprised people were disappointed with it. I thought people love Mario Tennis.
I love Mario Tennis, but it's just something that like I don't need to get excited about.
Yeah, it kind of just looks like Mario Tennis.
Yep, exactly.
Like Mario Kart 8 does not look like. I mean, it's Mario Kart, but it's like, holy crap! What the hell they do to Mario Kart? That's awesome.
Yeah.
But it's like, oh, it's Mario. It's
Mario
it's a by the
Tennis.
numbers Mario Tennis game.
Yep. And then they announced a little bit more with Super Mario Maker. Just showed off a little bit more of that. I'm slightly interested in it, but it just looks like all those like kind of indie platformers almost at this point, where it's like we're just gonna go super crazy with this.
That looks actually Mario Maker. I think looks awesome.
Really?
Yeah, I think I think the only way that you can really appreciate it is you need to watch the Nintendo World Championship,
Mhm.
because it was the final game, and they showed some super 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 cool stuff with that.
Really?
It kind of looks like, have you ever seen like those like super crazy like Mario hack games?
Oh yeah.
It's like that. It's like that. That's the game.
Yeah.
It's just these like crazy. I think that game's gonna be freaking bonkers. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun.
I don't know. I struggle getting into like those super over the top platformers where it's like crazy difficult for no freaking reason.
Oh yeah. Well yeah. I think I'll have a little bit of all of that.
Yeah. All right, and then to round things out, ending on a high note, Square Enix.
Square Enix had awesome things to announce and did a terrible press conference.
Yep.
Holy shit! Did they have a bad press conference?
Hitman, which that was the other thing that we didn't talk about at Sony, was actually announced at Sony's, and then Square talked a little bit more about it and gave some more details here, but
and didn't show a gameplay demo of it,
which is weird because it's a December release.
Is it seriously?
I believe it's this December.
No way. Is it really?
Hitman will have a digital release on December 8, 2015.
Holy shit! Wow.
Yeah, so this is a December release that had no gameplay footage.
Yeah,
so
that's crazy.
Take that how you will.
They didn't make that game look interesting. Actually, everything I've read about that game sounds crazy cool.
Yeah.
It sounds like this is like I think we talked a little bit about this like last time. It's like whatever the Pen Ultimatum Hitman game is, like this is that game.
Yep. Other stuff from there, they showed some more Deus Ex. Looks crazy good. I'm super excited.
Did you actually see the gameplay for Deus Ex, like the 25-minute trailer?
I haven't seen that yet, no.
Holy shit, does that look cool?
Yeah. I'm super pumped for that game. So again, but I feel like nothing was really conveyed well at their conference. So even that was like kind of like this weird like intro. The way they came up with it.
Yeah, think about like how they announced Nier. It was like, here's some concept art. It's by Platinum. Like that wasn't even a concept trailer.
Yeah, we couldn't even bother to get the concept trailer. We just give you the art. Here's the concept art for.
I think that deal like went down like yesterday.
Yeah. So Sony was announcing all this big crap. We're like, shit, we need something big too. You guys want to do this?
I just realized we haven't talked about Kingdom Hearts 3.
Yeah, that's because it was at the Square conference and that was the last conference.
Oh yeah.
Go ahead.
This was my game of like what I thought was like, oh, I'm gonna be super excited for it. It was too early. The game's too early.
Yep.
The game is too early to show. I think last time the thing I talked about like the most like I want to see was something called like the Kingdom shader, and this is gonna be super specific, but like his skin looks super weird. Like the shaders looked not good. Like that was the one thing like they didn't have down yet. Was this thing they've been advertising about Kingdom Hearts forever? Was like the shaders, like, oh, they're gonna look so cool, and like it just did not look great. It looked like Kingdom Hearts 2.
Yep.
So maybe we'll talk about that a little later, but this
again, like talking about how they kind of had a weird presentation with it. They sat down and they announced the new Kingdom Hearts world, Tangled. Which
they announced it super weird. Like, hi, I'm a producer on Tangled. It's like you didn't even direct it. It's like, and hi, I'm a producer. It's like you guys don't make stuff. You balance budget.
You talk to the people who make it.
It's Tangled. What the hell?
I think that game is just so far away right now, but they know they need to keep talking about it. That they need to announce every little detail that they happen to come up with. I think they kind of screwed themselves last year in showing some gameplay of it.
Yeah.
They're like, oh shit, now people expect more every year, and we really still are at the same point we were last year. But we need something to talk about with this because we already announced it.
I don't know. Like the gameplay, I mean, it's looking like a souped up Kingdom Hearts 2, which is kind of cool, but I don't know. They probably should have just kept that under wraps. Like it's too early to show, and it's like, and it looks like they started to set up retro. They have some really cool particle effects, but it looks like we have really cool particle effects because we're hiding the fact that it's definitely not done.
Yeah, it definitely is very, very early, and they should have showed what they showed last year this year. They went a year early. If you would just go with your basic reveal trailer this year, which they did last year, you put that this year, then in 2016 E3, you've got much more to show.
Yeah. Actually, that reveal trailer was like 2 years ago.
Was it really 2 years ago?
Yeah, it's when they announced Final Fantasy 15.
Damn.
Or whatever. That wasn't 2014. I think that was 2013.
God. Yeah, so they're so... yeah. Again, messing up how they announced their cool things.
Yeah.
But... anyway, that kind of wraps it up. So this is a much longer
Jesus,
episode.
that was a long-ass podcast.
hopefully we'll kind of be back on our normal schedule here relatively soon.
Yeah, we'll see.
Depending on how things go. Thank you guys for listening. I'm sure we'll come back to some of these things as they get more details over the next few months and as they come out. If you want to follow us on Twitter, we are Darksliders_pod. Otherwise, follow us on YouTube, subscribe on iTunes, blah, 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 all that other fun stuff. Thanks for listening, and hopefully we'll get back on our normal schedule and be back next week.